Alright, so with a new version of the game, of course, Grand Cross has a lot of baggage, and by that I mean a lot of really good top tier units that released, summonable wise, that you should be expecting to come in the future. And I did make a video on contents coming out, and I did make like a listing of dates that banners came out. If you want to check that out, I'll leave in the description. But I just wanted to talk about the units, because I only like said, like, oh, this unit's good. I didn't actually talk about the units, and I'm actually going to do that. But before I do start the list, I'm gonna give two really good honorable mentions. So these two units are actually coin shop units that came out as summonable and then went to the coin shop. So first, as you can see already, is Red Escanor. I don't think you should summon for Red Escanor. Let me pull him up real quick on my game as well. I do wanna be playing with them while I talk. I don't think you should summon for Red Escanor for the simple fact that he is a coin shop unit, depending on his banner. Because on JP, when Red Escanor came out, he was in the New Year's banner, and those units were mega exclusive. So it was like, oh, you should really summon for this banner because the banner is mega exclusive. But we don't know. I hate this new chat thing on JP. We don't know how he will come out on global because they're not gonna wait for New Year's to release Red Escanor. So I don't know, but Red Escanor, he's a coin shop unit, so I would avoid summoning on him. But he's a fantastic unit. If you summon for him, if he's even a banner, because they could just drop it in a coin shop on global. Honestly, again, he was like a New Year's celebration kind of unit, but he was also a coin shop. So I don't know how he's gonna be handled, but fantastic unit. His card combined with his passive is really good because he already starts with a buff and then he has Amplify. Combining him with Red Arthur, getting him a lot of boosts for the Amplify effect to work is fantastic. And he takes off Alt Gauge. Taking off Alt Gauge, like, here's the thing. Another unit in this list, which is Lilia, she also has the same card, but she doesn't do very much damage. Escanor, because he has like insane Pierce rate, which is like a really fantastic stat, he does mega good damage, even on the AoE with like a low multiplier. So Escanor units in general are just good. Whenever new Escanor comes out, like a blue Escanor, he's gonna be fantastic as well. And my other example of a unit that you shouldn't summon, but it's really good and it's gonna be in the coin shop is Estarossa. So Estarossa, if I go here in the shop right now, he is really good, but he does cost 7 coins. So he has 10 coins right here, but in a discount, he actually costs 7. And I personally think that you should skip his banner, but I'm gonna give you the reason at the end, because it's gonna make more sense. But I think you should skip his banner, and it's actually for 2 reasons. First, he releases with Red Estarossa, which is an awful unit. He's terrible, and if you pull the red one, you're gonna feel terrible about it. And this green one is like top 5 best units in the game. Like, Green Estarossa is legitimately really good. But just like Escanor, which is also here in the coin shop, is a coin shop unit. You can buy him. So if you're low on coins, right, you can summon for him when he comes out. But let me find him real quick, just so I can play with him real quick. If you are just lacking gems at the time, or actually, again, I'll give you more of the reason once we get to the last unit. But I don't know. I would skip him. I will be skipping him on global when he comes out, just because he's a coin shop unit. When he released on GP, we didn't know. We did not get like any news that Estarossa would be a coin shop unit. He just dropped in a banner. I was like, okay, he's a summonable unit. No, he's a coin shop unit. He's really good because of this. He assumes a stance and taunts for 1 turn, and then he counters. You on global right now, you see, oh man, counter Meliodas is so good. Dude, this guy is legitimately better than counter Meliodas, because here's the thing. Let's say you're getting attacked for like 5 times in a turn. So Estarossa taunts, so the enemies have to attack him, and he counters every single time. So he's stupid good. He's my favorite game in the game, just because it's so fun to use. You can see right here those counters, and he just says, man, every voice line he does, like Furu counter, is just, oh man, so good. So Estarossa, like, really good honorable mention. But again, now starting the list. Ooh, 5 minutes to start the list. I'm sorry, but it's just because these 2 units, they're phenomenal, but they are gonna be coin shop. But moving to the first unit, he is really close, which is Hellbrim. Helbrum is a very good, like, he's a really, like, sneaky good unit. Because here's the thing, let me find him in my game so I can actually play with him while I talk. Let me sort by red. Helbrum combined with King and Gopher, which is, Gopher's a unit that's also coming out in just a few weeks on Global. They are a fantastic combo for PvP. I don't think they will be as, I'm trying to find him. I don't think, I hate the menus on this game. Man, it's so hard to find units. God damn it. Okay, but that taken aside. He's really good. I think I'm not gonna have gameplay for Helbrum. I'm sorry. Oh, I found him. Nice. He's really, really fantastic combined with King and Gopher. Just because he has a passive that increases basic stats by 5% for each surviving ally, and King's passive is that he boosts stats of Ferris by 8%. So you get like two freaking passive boosts for him. His stats get like really high on PvP, and then if you keep moving his cards up, this card goes for 450% and depletes 3 ultimate gauge moves. Then he has Petrify. Petrify is insane. It's just... Petrify is crazy. It's a really good card. He's gonna be really relevant on PvP, and I put him first because I am making in order of release. He will be the next... that's if they follow JP. Like, let me put it like that. If they follow JP, which they should, he will be the next banner. If they follow JP, him and Red Merlin will be the next banner. That's why I have him in the next year. And he's really like a very solid unit in general, even like outside of PvP. He hits really hard, and he petrifies, which, again, Petrify, if you've been playing with King, you know how good Petrify is, right? So, again, that's pretty much it, just taking off ult gauge and stuff. His stats are not very good, so if you're using him, your combat class might not be the best, but he can still work with it. He definitely can still work with it. Now, moving on is the big man himself, Green Escanor. So, we talked about Red Escanor, and he's like a fantastic unit. And Green Escanor and Red Escanor are neck to neck. Like, I for a while, been thinking that Red Escanor is actually better, just because he has a hybrid. So, Green Escanor, he has only single target moves, right? While Red Escanor had a single target and an AoE move, and that to me was like, oh, he's more versatile, right? But man, they're just both really good. Like, the thing with the green one is that this card right here, giving him ult gauge, is just so good because his ultimate hits super hard. Let me play his ultimate real quick right here. His ultimate hits so hard. I said this so weird. His ultimate hits really hard. And it's just like the multiplier. Even if you're having a 1-6, like, I personally have been lucky to have pulled him 6 times. So I do have him like max percentage, right? But even at 1-6, he just hits really hard. 840%. And for a unit with 80% penetration, I'm sorry, pierce rate. 80% pierce rate and like a stupid high attack stat. So good. And the Cruel Sun, not only he applies ignites, which is really good, he removes buffs. This, like, it's very specific situations where this works, but when it does, it just works so well. And then his passive. So his passive, when it first came out, people were like, oh, this passive is bad because it removes buffs, but removing debuffs at full ult gauge is so good. Like, legitimately, if Escanor is petrified or something, and you're like 1 ult gauge away from getting your ultimate, if you just move a card, he gets unpetrified in the very same turn. Like, it's a really good passive. Like, sometimes, oh yeah, you might lose buffs here and there, but for the most part, like, combined with this card right here, that he gets 2 ult gauge when moving, you can easily get your ult gauge a lot of times in the match, I'm sorry. A lot of times, if you get lucky, because the 7th card in your hand is like a random card, right? If you get lucky and you get an extra attack card like this, you can get his ultimate turn 1. Because you use his Cruel Sun, you combine cards and then use level 2, that's a full ult gauge. From 0 to 5. So, just such a good unit. Such a good unit. And again, there's no particular order of who's better or who's worse, it's just order of release. Moving on, we have Lilia. So, if you watch the anime and you're like, who's Lilia? Lilia is a original character. So in this game we have original characters, which I think is a fantastic addition to the game. I think more games should do that. I know a few games also do that, like Dragon Ball Legends has Shallot, right? If you played that game, and like having original characters is really good. Especially she, because she's my waifu, so that also counts. And like I said, she does have the same card that takes off alt cage like Escanor, and she's a healer. So she's a support unit, right? And you're like, oh, I don't like support units, I like big man damage. She provides big man damage because of the next unit right here with the list, which is Blue DM Meliodas. They work par and par. So Lilia, if I'm not, I'm gonna have to check this. I'm gonna really have to check this because I want to be correct. I think Lilia comes out a week before Blue DM Meliodas. It did on JP, right? They might change it on global, but they did on JP. Okay, Merlin goes before this. DM Meliodas, yeah. Lilia came out a week before DM Meliodas, right? I'm sorry, let me zoom in. Lilia came out a week before DM Meliodas, and they work so well. They work incredibly well. So what does she do? What does she do? She increases all allies' pierce rate by 50% of her own pierce rate. And her pierce rate is not very high, but, I mean, it's kind of high, 50%. But you can give her gear that has full-on pierce rate as rolls. And why is that good? Is because Meliodas inflicts 3 times pierce rate, and then he inflicts damage. And we didn't know exactly how good this would be when it first came out, but once we tested him, it was like, he does like Escanor's damage, but AoE. It's like, it's to all enemies, and he's so crazy because like he triples the pierce rate, and he's 40%, so he does like 120% pierce rate, which is higher than Escanor's, which is really, really high already. And if I'm talking like these weird terms because you're new to the game, I'm sorry, but it's hear me out, it's really important. And she gives her extra pierce rate. So in reality, a lot of times you have Meliodas at like base like 90% pierce rate or like 120% pierce rate, and you're tripling that. So like he's doing like increased damage on top of increased damage, and it's so crazy. And he can't be attack sealed if he has less than 4 ult gauge, which is insanely good for PvP because one of the best units in the game, or if not the best unit in the game, is Red Gopher, and he attack seals. So he can't attack seal this boy if he doesn't have a full ult gauge. So he's really good. And the other card, it's not so good. It's Corrosion. It can be like really deadly if the enemies are not paying attention. You just keep corrosing their health, because what Corrosion does, it just takes off a chunk of their health every turn. Like level 1 is 15% of their remaining HP for 2 turns, and then up to level 3, which is 20% of the full HP for 3 turns. So Corrosion is actually a really deadly card if they are paying attention, but if they are, it's not very good. And Meliodas was part of the list, by the way. he comes out like a week after Lilia. So Lilia, how they do original character banners is they are guaranteed at step 10. I should have been using Meliodas right here. Let me pull them up. How they do original characters is they release a step up that costs 240 gems to do all 10 steps, and the last step is a guaranteed of the new character. So Lilia is guaranteed. Saving for her is key. Literally key. Because if you get her guaranteed and you can save gems for Blue DM Meliodas, that's your team right there. Look, they work with anything. Like you can put him, like the best team for the longest time on PvP will be Blue DM Meliodas, Lilia, and Escanor. If you have these 3 units, you just got a PvP. Like literally easy 60 gems every week, easy like challenger, like I know this because I've been through it. It still is, like on JP, till this day, like arguably the best gear team is Blue DM Meliodas, Lilia, and Red Escanor. Or Green Escanor as well, like either or, they're both really good. So these 3 units combined, like they're so good. And then, I have the unit I hate the most. Let me actually play this. Oh, I didn't play the ultimate. Okay, let me play his ultimate real quick, just before we go. Click this one. Just before we go, let me play his ultimate real quick, because if you haven't seen his ultimate with Merlin, it looks really nice. I really like it. I don't like his solo ultimate as much, but the ultimate with Merlin, oh, it looks really good. Yeah, ooh, look how, oh, he looks so menacing. DM Meliodas, they really did a good job of making him look evil. I really like that. But yeah, so the next unit on the list is actually the hard counter to the ones I just talked about, which is Valenti. Valenti is literally the opposite of Lilia. So Lilia gives penetration. Valenti reduces penetration. I'm sorry, pierce rate. Before on JP we used to call it penetration. So if you hear me saying penetration, that's why. But on global it's called pierce rate. What she does is she decreases the pierce rate of all the enemies by the amount of resistance that she has. So you give this girl resistance gear and boom, the enemies don't have any pierce rate anymore. And then so Meliodas is useless. So if you don't pull Meliodas, you pull Valenti, and then you shut down who has Meliodas. And I think she's a must-own unit. Not only because of PvP. So I talked about bleeding Meliodas and Lilia for PvP, but they're actually like really, really good farmers. All those boss stages, every time I go to get a raid, I have both of them and Hauser, and I just put in auto and they just complete really fast, right? Because they're all AoE, and Meliodas is like busted AoE damage, right? But in PvP, Valenti completely shuts down Meliodas, like completely. And then in PvE, she's actually a really solid unit as well, because she really reduces the damage that the enemies do to your team, right? So we haven't had yet the Grey Demon on global. But the Grey Demon on the Hell difficulty, he does really high damage to you. But Valenti completely shuts down his damage. So she's like incredibly, I want to say a must unit to have. And just like Lilia, she's guaranteed. So you finish summoning for Meliodas, you already save for Valenti. Because 240 gems you can, like, I've already made a video on this, but you can get like up to like 500 gems in a month on this game for free. So you can easily save gems for Valenti and just pull for her and get her guaranteed. And again, she's like a must-have unit. She's really good. But yeah, I think we only have one more in the list, and is the best PvE unit in the game, and the reason why you should skip Estarosin. So after Valenti, we had like a really dry time of good units. After Valenti, the next unit that released that was really good were the New Year units, and with that came Red Escanor. And after that, we also had like a pretty dry time of good units, and then we had Estarosin, and everyone summoned like crazy for Estarosin. And right after Estarosin came Derriere. If you have not seen my videos on Derriere, please check them out. Derriere is single-handedly the best PvE unit in the game, and it's not even a competition. Like there's no second place. Even Gopher can't even compete. She can solo the hardest raid in the game. Like that's how strong she is. So what does she do? She increases her own attack by 10% for each time she uses a card, and it goes away if she doesn't use a card. It limits to 10 times. But here's the thing, right? Her card does up to 600%, which is like already really good. And she has another card that boosts her by 20, 30, and 50%. In the level 2 and 3, give her Evade, which makes her not be able to take any damage for a turn. That means zero. Only ultimates can bypass that. Also, her ultimate works as per each buff she has, it increases damage by 30%. Every single time she increases a thing here, that's an extra buff. Every single time she gets an extra 10%, you can see the buffs racking up in my head right here, right? Every single time she attacks, she gets an extra buff. So that's 10 times 30 on that percent right there. And then this, if you have a level 3, not only you get the 50% from the actual card, but you also get 4 buffs, I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 buffs from it, because it's attack, HP, and defense, which also multiplies like with this one, right? And then you also get evade, which also counts as a buff, so that's like 14 times 30%, plus her already decently high multiplier on the ultimate. On Hell Crimson, which is again a raid that you don't have on global, but it's like the toughest raid pretty much. On Hell Crimson, every single time, I just literally do 2 million damage. It's like a consistent 2 million damage on him. Let me see, like, I think this battle that I'm doing right now, it doesn't count gear. But let me see how much damage is it gonna do right here. Oop, 1.6 million damage. Literally, it's so effortless. Should do 1 million damage with her. Like, you've seen, like, counter Meliodas, right? He does, like, insane damage. But he needs a build-up. He needs to take damage, and then you get, like, a level 3 card, and boom. She is like, I don't care about building up. I mean, she kind of needs to build up, but honestly, if you just do her blue card, that's enough to, like, hit pretty hard. and she's just so good. Like, she's legitimately the best PvP in the game. As I said, after Valenti, we only had the Red Escanor, which I said you can skip if you have coins to buy him, and then Astarosa, which again, you can skip if you have coins to buy him, and then you have Derriere, which is a must summon unit. But I think down the line, it's gonna take like 5 months, 6 months for her to come. So you have a long time to think about saving for her. But yeah, she, like, legitimately, I'm gonna make a video about her tomorrow, actually. And I recommend checking that video out, because I'm gonna go full out and get like the max numbers she can get, because she's legitimately so freaking fun and good. I still have Estarossa as my favorite unit in the game, just because I love when he says Furukanta, but still, she's like mega insane. But yeah, enough of me sucking Derriere off. Oh my god, she's so good! I can't stop talking about her, she's so good!